Today, we are taking a plunge into, well, one of the longest lasting, most influential, and maybe one of the most misunderstood theological systems in all of human history, ancient Egypt.
It's an incredible subject. I mean, you're not talking about a brief empire. We're looking at a civilization with a continuity that spans at least 4,000 years,
At least, some traditions say it could go back as far as 70,000 years.
which is almost impossible to get your head around. But what's really striking is the stability of their symbols.
Right. You have figures like Hathor, the mother goddess, or the Ankh, that famous key of life, and they stay essentially unchanged for 4,000 years. I mean, did any other civilization manage that? Is that unique?
It seems to be entirely unique in its unwavering stability. And that's our first clue, really.
A clue to a what?
That what looks like this bewildering, polymorphous pantheon of gods and goddesses is actually the technical shell of a unified and very sophisticated religious magic.
So our mission today is to crack that shell.
Exactly. To find the unity underneath.
Okay, let's start by cutting through some of the noise then. The biggest modern misconception has to be zoolatry, the idea that the Egyptians just straight up worshipped animals.
It's a fundamental error, a huge one. The zoomorphism, using forms like a falcon for Horus or the cow for Hathor, it wasn't animal worship.
It was a symbolic shorthand.
A symbolic shorthand. For them, every living thing was just a physical shadow of an invisible, immortal force. They understood that the falcon didn't just represent the sky.
It was a visible symbol for a divine force.
Yes, the sweeping force of solar consciousness. The creature was the vehicle, not the destination.
Which brings us to a core term we have to understand to get any further: neter.
Mater, and the plural is neteru. And it's notoriously difficult to translate. If you just say God, you're already on the wrong track.
So what's a better way to think of it?
Think of it as a powerful divine force or presence, illuminate. The neteru are distinct aspects of one single divine reality.
So like the 99 names of God in other traditions, each neter is an attribute, not a separate being competing with others.
Precisely. They're all facets of an absolute deity that is ultimately unique, unknowable, and totally formless. It transcends any definition you could give it.
And the hieroglyph for neter itself is fascinating. It looks like an axe.
It does. It looks like a ceremonial axe.
Yeah.
And while that might seem strange for a symbol of divinity, it shows up everywhere. Temples, amulets. The sources suggest it connects to a universal archetype.
The sacred axe. But why an axe? Why a weapon?
Well, because the path to understanding the divine for them was an initiatic struggle. It requires a decisive internal act.
You mean inner warfare?
Exactly. The inner warfare required to conquer your own ignorance, to separate the spiritual from the purely material. It's a kind of a cutting away, a purification.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's unpack their blueprint for the cosmos. To understand how all these forces, these neteru, relate to each other, we have to grasp the underlying structure.
The Ennead.
The Ennead.
Or Pesidi in Egyptian. It just means the nine. This was the common philosophical concept used everywhere. Heliopolis, Memphis, Thebes. The names might change a little from place to place, but that structure...
The structure of 9 was always there.
Always. So it's not just a list of gods. It's a systematic map.
A map of what?
A map of creation. It shows the development of life step by step, from the absolute mystery into manifestations that human beings can actually comprehend. The number 9 itself, 3 times 3, symbolizes the plural of plurals, a unified totality.
And this map has to start somewhere that the mind can't really go, doesn't it? The source material calls it absolute darkness.
Which is a beautiful way of putting it. It's pure, infinite potential.
Yeah.
Beingness. It's unconditioned, without form, outside of space and time. You can't define it, because defining it would limit it.
And from that infinite potential, the first split happens, the primordial duality.
Yes. From the ultimate one comes the necessary two. Spirit and matter, heaven and earth. But what's absolutely crucial in the Egyptian view is that this duality is always complementary.
Not a battle between good and evil.
Not at all. They aren't enemies. They're two sides of the same coin, locked in what you could call dynamic interdependence. Creation needs both.
And this all ties back to that core Hermetic principle, as above, so below.
Absolutely. The whole system is designed so the microcosm, that's man, reflects the macrocosm, the universe. If you understand the Ennead, you basically have a roadmap to self-knowledge.
Okay, let's trace that roadmap then. Let's use the Heliopolitan version, the oldest one. It all starts with that deep, vast potential.
It begins with none, the primordial ocean, This is the dark, watery abyss that existed before anything. It's chaos, but not in a negative sense.
More like raw, unorganized potential.
Exactly. And from none, we get the One.
Atom.
Atom, the
Yeah.
self-born creator. His name is interesting. It can mean non-thing or atum, pointing to his origin from the unmanifested absolute. He is pure being, emerging on the first primordial mound of dry land.
And as soon as that single point is established, it immediately breaks into duality, the two.
That's right. Adam generates the first pair from his own essence, Shu and Tefnut.
Air and moisture.
Shu is the masculine principle of air, the vital breath. Tefnut is the feminine principle of moisture, humidity. You can't have life without them.
And that dynamic pair then creates the physical framework for our world, the foundation, what our sources call the four.
Precisely. They create Geb, who is earth, and Nut, the sky. But at first, they were locked in an inseparable embrace. Everything was compressed.
So something had to create space.
And that was the job of their father, Shu, air. He steps between them and pushes Nut, the starry body of the sky, up and away from Geb, the green earth. That act creates the space for the manifested world to exist.
Which gives us the rhythm of existence.
Yeah.
The cosmic cycle. Nut swallowing the sun each night, giving birth to it each morning.
And Geb, the earth, becomes the guardian of the dead, their final resting place. This structure, this order, is the stable matrix of the cosmos.
So now we have the stage set. And on that stage comes the final generation of the great Ennead, the one that deals directly with, well, with us. Human affairs, morality, the five.
From Geb and Nut come Osiris, Isis, Seth, Nephthys, and sometimes Horus the Elder is included as the fifth, representing the horizon. This group deals with life, death, chaos, magic, rebirth, the whole drama.
And Osiris and his story seem absolutely central to that idea of sacred inner warfare we mentioned earlier.
Absolutely. Osiris is the resurrected king. He's the perfected celestial man. His murder and dismemberment by his brother Seth, the dark, chaotic principle, is the necessary trial.
The crucible.
The crucible, yes. And his subsequent recomposition, with the help of his wife Isis and sister Nephthys, symbolizes the path of initiation, what they called Osirification.
So the goal of the initiate is to become Osiris, to shed the chaotic, fragmented parts of themselves and become unified and divine.
That is the ultimate goal, to move from the barren chaos of Seth's desert to the ordered fertility of Osiris's kingdom.
The Ennead, from 1 to 9, is the map. But how did an individual interact with that map day to day? Let's turn to 3 of the most powerful, enduring symbols, starting with the Ankh.
The Ankh. It's the ultimate key, and its form is everything. You have the cross, which represents matter, the mortal world.
And the 4 cardinal directions.
Right. And that's surmounted by the loop, the circle, which represents the eternal, the spiritual essence.
So it's the meeting point of the temporal and the eternal.
Exactly. It's the symbol of eternal life, the key to the mysteries of nature. It's the universe unified, and it's the emblem of the individual who holds that key.
Okay, next. The scarab, Kepri. Most people know it's about the rising sun.
That's part of it. The beetle pushing its ball of dung mimics the solar cycle. But the spiritual meaning is much deeper. It's about spiritual resurrection, reincarnation.
So?
Well, look at the analogy. You have this heavy, ground-crawling insect stuck in the mud. Then suddenly it unfolds its wings and takes flight, ascending to the sky.
So it's the soul transcending matter.
It's the evolved soul transcending its physical limitations. And resurrection for them wasn't physical.
Wait, so it's not about the body coming back to life?
Not at all. Spiritual resurrection meant the soul awakening, and crucially, remembering its divine origin. It was an awakening of memory, not an awakening of flesh.
That's a huge distinction. Okay, finally, the big one. The Sphinx.
Horemshu, sun on the horizon. This one is profoundly esoteric. It symbolizes the triumph of man's human head, his intelligence, his wisdom over his passionate animal nature.
The lion's body.
The body combines the lion, the bull, the eagle, and man, which correspond to the 4 elements of the world: fire, earth, air, and water. To become the Sphinx is to achieve mastery over the foundational forces of your own nature.
To become, as the source says, God born of himself.
Through self-discipline, yes.
Speaking of discipline and order, we have to talk about the forces that maintain this cosmic order. Let's talk about Mot and Thoth.
Mot. She isn't just a goddess of justice. She is the principle of cosmic order. The entire universe, the sun rising, the river flowing, it all works because of Mot. She is the force that holds back chaos.
And her symbol is the feather, the one used to weigh the heart of the dead.
Yes, in the Hall of Justice.
Yeah.
The heart is weighed against her single, light feather. If it's heavier, it's devoured. It's just a stunning metaphor. Your whole life has to be as light as a single feather of truth.
And overseeing this judgment is Thoth.
Thoth, the god of wisdom, writing, memory. He's the keeper of records. He's often shown as an ibis, which is the natural enemy of the crocodile.
The symbol of ignorance.
Exactly. Or as a baboon, representing ancient knowledge. He records the result of the weighing. He brings forth the memory of the life lived.
It's important to step back now, to look beyond the Nile Valley, because this kind of theological depth wasn't happening in a vacuum. The sources talk about the broader African context.
That's a necessary perspective, I think. When you look at a lot of contemporary Black African symbolism, it can seem, fragmented. Sometimes it's been dismissed as childish theology.
But the source material argues that's a mistake.
A big mistake. It suggests that what we see now might just be the decomposed fragments of other powerful ancient cultures. And if you look closely, you see the same core patterns.
Like what?
You find belief in a distant, unknowable, supreme God, the immortality of the soul, and critically, a belief in ancestor souls.
And how do they fit in?
They act as a bridge, a nexus between humanity and that distant supreme God. They're intermediaries, very much like the Neteru. And you see the same obsession with primal dualities myths about the sun and moon, life and death. The structure's there.
And there's a clear historical example of this synthesis, isn't there? The X group.
Yes, a highly civilized Nubian Negroid race from about 2,000 years ago. They didn't just copy Egyptian ideas, they actively synthesized them with Greco-Roman concepts. It shows an advanced capacity for theological understanding.
So, to wrap this deep dive up for you, the learner, the key takeaway here is that Egyptian polytheism wasn't a chaotic mess. Not at all.
It was a unified, structured theological language. The Ennead, that path from 1 to 9, is the grammar of that language.
It's a step-by-step map from unmanifest potential, none, all the way down to the ordered world governed by Mot.
And by completing that sequence, it brings us to the 10, which is humanity. The final piece, designed for self-mastery.
And this spiritual alphabet, this amazing vision of the cosmos, might have survived in a very unexpected form.
Indeed. Our sources suggest that the symbols we now know as the tarots could be a synthesis of that vision. Perhaps they were displayed on temple walls, passed down through esoteric groups. Maybe even the gypsies, whose name comes from Egyptians.
So they weren't for fortune-telling. They were portable reminders of esoteric knowledge.
A spiritual alphabet designed to awaken our higher intuitive capacities.
Then let me leave you with this final thought. If these symbols are an alphabet for understanding the cosmos, and the cosmos is defined by that constant interplay between order like Isis and chaos like Seth, then what fundamental truth about the interplay of those forces in your own life are you currently failing to see? What internal blindness, what veil of the material world is preventing you from achieving your own true inner vision?